Welcome to Lake Tahoe. Lake Tahoe is the largest freshwater lake in the Sierras and the largest alpine lake in North America. It has been the backdrop of many movies and TV shows and is well known for its crystal clear and cold waters. It straddles two states, Nevada and California, stretching 22 miles across at its widest spot. Now, I've come to this area of the state for a grueling adventure race, which takes place on the north shore of the lake. But while I'm here preparing for the adventure, I decided to set off in search of the best photography spots around the lake that I could visit in a day. And I got a very early start. All right, I've made it to stop number 1 at the Valhalla Pier. The sun is just starting to come up. This is I think the only free pier that the public can access here in the Lake Tahoe region. And there's a public beach here as well at one of the resorts. It should be really beautiful. I got my OM system OM5 today, and that's primarily what I'll be taking photographs of on this little photo excursion here in Lake Tahoe. I also do have the drone with me, and I'll be doing some aerial photos as well. But I'm just waiting for the sun to come up a little bit more and show us these beautiful sunrise colors. While I'm waiting here for the sun to rise, one thing I think photographers don't talk about enough when photographing sunrises and sunsets is about turning away from that beautiful sun and looking the other way. I really love, looking in the opposite direction, because at this time of morning or in the opposite time of day when the sun is setting, if you look in the other way, you have all these beautiful shadows and just nice contrast as well. So a lot of the times when you're photographing stuff, you really just want to be observant. You want to look around. It's not just always about the subject that you think you're going to take pictures of. It's about being creative and seeing everything that's around you so that you can kind of capture the different layers of lighting and shadows and make photographs that really pop. One of the things I love about this camera is that just right here on the top, you have this button where you can do self timer. So we're gonna do 10 seconds, 3 photos. It's cold out here this morning, it's about 40 degrees. The sunrise was at 6:15, so I got here around 5:45. And as we can see, looking around here, the colors are just starting to get really good, especially on the top of the mountain back here. You're just starting to get a little bit of that Alpine glow, which is really great. So if you're coming to shoot a sunrise or a sunset, it's always good to get there about 30 minutes at the very least before your weather app or your phone or whatever you're looking at says the sunrise or sunset actually is, because you are going to start getting those colors within 30 minutes leading up, an hour maybe for sunset, but for sunrise within about 30 minutes before the sun comes up, and for about 30 minutes after as well. The next stop on this little photography tour of Tahoe is to Glen Alpine Falls. Now, there are a ton of waterfalls here in Tahoe, so you really have to just pick which one looks the best to you. I was hoping this one would be a little bit more spectacular, but the water levels I think are pretty low right now. It is midsummer and it is really hot out. So if you came here in the spring or after a big rain, I think it would be even more fantastic. But I'm gonna shoot a couple long exposures here and I'll show you the results in a few. To shoot long exposures, you will want your camera on a tripod for best results. I also like to shoot in full manual mode with a large f-stop and an ISO of around 100, especially on a day like today that's super bright and sunny. Now, I also like to have a concept sometimes for photographs, so today I really wanted a long exposure of the falls, but with a self-portrait of me in my long white shawl from Jordan. Now, in order to get a long exposure and an action shot, I took 2 sets of photographs, one with a slow shutter to get the waterfall, and a second with a fast shutter with me in the frame, and I'm overlaying them on top of each other in Photoshop to create one image. I'm pretty happy with the results considering how bright it was and the lack of water in the falls. After the falls, I stopped at a place called Fallen Leaf Lodge for a quick lakeside bite to eat, and the scenery was beautiful. Then I was back in the car to continue my drive on Highway 89. I stopped for a short hike along the Bayview Trail, which takes you along the edge of Cascade Lake to a fantastic viewpoint. The viewpoint behind me is just spectacular. And this little lake that we can see back here is actually called Cascade Lake, and beyond that is Lake Tahoe. So there's lots of other lakes around Lake Tahoe too that you can check out. Now, if you want to keep going on this trail, it actually goes to Cascade Falls. Because it's midsummer, I've talked to some other people around here that have said that it's pretty underwhelming right now because there's just only really a trickle. But if you were here in the springtime, you would definitely want to keep going past here to check that out. This hike sits right behind the picturesque Emerald Bay, one of the most beautiful spots in Lake Tahoe from shore or from boat. From here you can spy on Lake Tahoe's only island. Yes, a lake this size only has one island. Crazy, right? It's called Finette Island, and there's also an old castle in this area, which you can visit, and there's also several great places to park the car and check out the views. There are no shortage of absolutely epic views along this side of the lake. Past Bayview, there's also Eagle Falls, and if you continue past there, there is place after place to just pull over and take a look across the lake. I just picked a random spot where I saw a bunch of big jumbo rocks kind of near the side of the road. Hiked down here to the water's edge, and wow, it is just incredible. Hard to find a bad view here above Lake Tahoe, but we have a couple more places to check off here on our day of exploring. As I made my way back through South Lake Tahoe toward the North Shore, I passed Cave Rock. This is a stunning formation that's definitely worth the hike if you have the time. But with the light slipping away, I pressed on to a nearby beach where the crystal clear waters created the perfect final backdrop for my day's shoot. This next stop is called Secret Beach, and a couple of things. It's not so secret anymore as it's definitely been discovered, but the water is absolutely beautiful and there's lots of rocks around. This is also a nude beach, so if you are coming here to swim or float in a raft or take photographs, make sure you're being respectful of the people that are down enjoying the beach. And if you really want to get some photos with no people, come really early in the morning or later on in the evening. Now, you might recognize Secret Beach from several pretty popular Instagram accounts like Jess Wandering and Luke Kelly. There's some other ones too, and it's definitely a popular spot. Since it's the end of the day and a bit windy, the water is choppier and filled with a few more people than these iconic shots, but it's still a great place to come, especially if you arrive early or on a weekday. Being here around Lake Tahoe has certainly made me miss living by a lake. You know, as a kid, we lived about a mile from a place called Squam Lake in New Hampshire, and I spent pretty much every day in the summer swimming, floating on a float, kayaking, canoeing, and just being a total mermaid. So being around this stunning and beautiful lake has definitely brought back a lot of memories and also really made me miss that lifestyle, lake life. And I can definitely see myself living along this shoreline one day. There are no shortage of beautiful places along this lake, and I hope you enjoyed seeing some of them in this video. If you're coming here to Lake Tahoe, definitely check some of these spots out. And make sure you bring your camera. You know, I shot most of the photographs today on my OM system, OM5 camera, which is a fantastic introductory camera if you're looking to get into photography or just level up to the next level. If you're used to a point and shoot camera, this is a fantastic way to get into a camera with interchangeable lenses. I pretty much shot everything today on a 12 to 45 millimeter lens, which is a micro 4/3, so it does crop in a little bit on those photographs, but takes really fantastic stuff for landscapes and wildlife, and great video too. If you want to learn more about the camera, you can check it out at the link in the description. And the night is quickly coming for me here, so I'm gonna get to a restaurant, get some food. I need to get some rest before tomorrow because it's gonna be a really big day. If you want to watch this adventure race, it's also out on the channel right now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.